and this is the 22nd episode of the Caffeinated Craft Mamas podcast. My podcast all about my knitting, crocheting, and bookish life in Southwest Missouri, where I live with my partner Richard, our 3 kids, and our dog. Oh, I can't believe I remembered all that. Okay, it has been a very, very long summer break. I'm actually titling this episode Back from Summer and Back to School Insanity. I always forget how crazy August and September are for us, and so today is October 6th. I know that because it's my mommy's birthday today. So I took her a coffee. Of course, I got myself one, pumpkin, if you wondered. Because when you buy someone a birthday coffee, you always get your own. And now I'm setting up to podcast. So bear with me on this episode. It has been a long time, and it's probably going to take me a little while to get back into the groove of things. So we'll start out with a little bit of admin stuff. If you would like to follow me on social media, please feel free to do so. I'm really only active over on Instagram and here on YouTube. I honestly post over on Instagram maybe once or twice a week. I am the caffeinated_craft_mama. Please feel free to message me over there if you have any questions. You're always also welcome to comment down below, but I sometimes miss those. Instagram with direct messaging is a lot easier for me. So if you need to get a hold of me for something specific, please feel free to message me over there. I love talking to you guys. So, all right. So I'm not kidding that this episode is going to be a little different. I have a mountain of FOs. I believe I have 6 or 7. I have several whips. I have some scrappy time to talk about. I've got stash talk. We're going to have a serious talk about my testing addiction, you guys. So I have a plan. We're going to work through it. But it got me in some trouble. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about going to the frog pond because I've had to frog a few things, and we're going to talk about books and then life and junk. So this is probably going to be a longer than normal episode. All right, so we're going to start with finished objects. The first one I want to talk about is just a basic sock head hat. This is a hat I made for Olivia, who is my stepdaughter. It is just a short brimmed sock head hat made out of the Yarn Bee Authentic, the Hobby Lobby 100% wool they've started carrying. She just wanted something she could wear like to school and stuff. So she picked the yarn out, and I've got enough to make her a second one. I probably will, just so she has a backup. But yeah, so this was deep whip basket stash. Like I found this way at the bottom of my whip basket and finished it up. So I'm actually getting ready to cast on its twin, well, not out of this yarn, out of some red yarn for Jade, because she asked for one too. So that'll go in my Christmas pile. Okay, the next finished object I want to talk about is the Only Way Home sweater by Alice, and I'll put her Instagram handle down here. I knit this using Knit Picks Brava that I had in stash. It is Asphalt Heather and Eggplant. It is just a fun, boxy V-necked sweater with oversized sleeves. I'll pop a picture in up here of my finished object photos when I finished it. This was a really fun knit. I had not knit a worsted weight sweater in a long time. This thing flew off the needles. I cheated and carried my yarn up on the inside of my sweater. I hate weaving in yarn ends. I'm like the memes you see of like Gollum from Lord of the Rings complaining about weaving in yarn ends. That's me. I hate yarn ends. So anytime I can carry my yarn up the inside of my work, I'm 100% going to do that. That's part of the reason why I don't do a lot of striped projects, because I just hate yarn ends. So I really enjoyed knitting this. It was a fun test knit. It was a quick one, and I am looking forward to wearing this in like January when it's 15 degrees outside and everybody's shivering and I'm curled up on the couch with a cup of tea. This is going to be the sweater I have a feeling I will reach for. So that is my first finished object. Set my finished objects right there. Okay. My next finished object I actually don't have with me because they are hidden. I finished Richard's Christmas socks. So I knit Christmas socks for several different people every year, and he knew I was knitting him a pair of socks. I've been keeping them in my purse, and when I finished them, I hid them upstairs in my Christmas box, and I didn't want to get them out and have him possibly see them. So I'll pop a picture in here of them. They're just his typical sock recipe, which is a Judy Becker's Magic Cast On for 20 stitches, increase up to 60. I do 50 rows until I get to start the gusset increases. I do 20 rows of every other row gusset increases, and then I do the heel turn. It's a slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset, and then a 50 stitch leg, and usually for him I do a 15 stitch cuff with a nitty natty stretchy bind off at the end. I really like these. The yarn is Bad Wolf Girl Studios in Doctor's Ugly Christmas Sweater. It is a Doctor Who reference. And I really just enjoyed knitting these. They were a lot of fun. They went off the needles pretty quickly. I haven't really had a ton of sock mojo, so I wanted to get the Christmas socks started early. And I'm glad I did. So, yeah, pair of socks. Go me. Okay, next we're going to talk about another test knit that I did. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Almost every sweater that I'm going to talk about is a test knit. I've got 2 that aren't. All the rest have been test knits. So yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is the Wishbone Sweater by Caitlin at Wanderlust Knitter. Now this sweater was so much fun. Okay, so it's actually meant to be short sleeved, but because of where I live, I don't typically wear short sleeve sweaters because if it's warm enough outside to wear short sleeves, I don't want to be wearing wool. I get too hot. So I went ahead and put sleeves on this, but the pattern is written to be short sleeves. So yeah, that's the back. So I'll hold this up, let you guys get a view of this gorgeous yoke. This is also Hobby Lobby's wool yarn. I think they're authentic, I think is what it's called. I don't remember. But this is their wool. Oh, that was the back I just showed you guys. Sorry. There's the front. So it's just this really fun yoke, slip stitch. It fits me really well. It's super comfortable. It is fingering weight. Because it is knit in the round, all this garter stitch was a pain in the butt. As you can well imagine, but I'm really happy with the results. I'm really glad I stuck it through and did the sleeves. I think this is going to be something that I wear a lot. So, very nice. And I'm really happy with it. I wish it was cool enough I could wear it now, but today's high on the 6th of October is going to be 80 degrees because fall does not like me. So it is continuing to be hot. Okay. Ooh. All right. My next finished object is my petal party top. So I started knitting this for a wedding that ended up not happening. So I just thought, well, I'll go ahead and finish it anyway. This gorgeous yarn is Mama Jessa's yarn in the Beautiful Day colorway. This top was bringing me so much joy as I was knitting it. It really is named exactly as it should be. I did a couple of extra repeats because we all know I am not a big fan of crop tops, so I made it to go down to about my hip bones. I have a really cute black sleeveless dress that I've worn with this, and it looks really cute, and then it also looks just cute over a pair of jeans or a pair of leggings. I'll pop a couple photos in here that I took of myself wearing it. Quite honestly, I haven't gone anywhere that I've been able to wear this. I might be able to get away with wearing it Sunday. We are doing October and September birthdays at my Nana's house on Sunday, so I might be able to get away with wearing this then. But it's a fun pattern. It is the Petal Party top by Samantha. I'll put her Instagram in here. It was just really fun. It was enough of a pattern repeat that I could remember it, but it was also enough that I did have to pay attention. This was definitely an audiobook, not a Netflix type of thing. I had to really be watching what I was doing. So audiobook was where this one came from. Okay, next finished object is another pair of socks. These are for my friend Nicole. Her favorite color is orange. And these were actually meant to be for her birthday, but I didn't get them knit in time. So I am going to see her on Tuesday, and I'm just going to get them to her. Because, you know, friends deserve warm feet. And I'm just going to give them to her and be happy about it. This is, oh, what yarn is this? Knit Pick Static. They actually don't make this yarn anymore. I really enjoy the color repeats though. Obviously these are sisters, not twins. I didn't get them lined up quite right, but that's okay. Nicole's not gonna care. And yeah, so I got this on closeout. I've still got enough to put in all of my scrappy projects, and I will probably be sending the leftovers to my friend Melissa in Florida so that she can put some in her scrappy projects as well. We've been doing some scrappy yarn swaps. Okay, I apologize. I thought I was going to sneeze, but I didn't. Okay, the last sweater I want to talk about, again, I don't have with me. This is another test knit. This was the Sambach sweater by Alexandria, and I'll put her Instagram right here. This is a test knit that I just did. I knit it using the Pound of Love by Lion Brand and another yarn, and I do not know where the ball band went. It was a yarn that a friend of mine gave me when she was destashing, and so I just pulled it out of stash and used it. So it's a fun color work yoke cardigan. It took a lot for me to figure out, to be quite honest. Anytime I've done color work, it's been in the round. So I had to learn how to purl using color work. It was very interesting. It took a lot of my concentration, but I'm really glad that I persevered and got it done. I actually gave it to my sister for her birthday. Her birthday was last week. My mom and my sister's birthdays are a week apart. And so she liked it and tried it on, and it fit her really well, and so she's using it as a work cardigan. So I'm really happy that she loved it. And the maroon yarn I do know is an 80/20 yarn acrylic blend, like Wool-Like, but not Wool-Like brand. I cannot think of the name of it. So it is what it is. That pattern will be out, I believe, next week. So feel free to go over and follow Alexandria to be able to pick up a copy of that pattern. And if you are trying to find any of the designers that I talk about, I will be having, wow, that's good English. I will be typing up notes for this podcast and putting them down below. So you should just be able to click the link. I always just link to Instagram pages. That way you can go through and find where they have their patterns. If Ravelry is not accessible to you or whatever, you're able to choose where you get their patterns from. So we can turn a page. Look at us go. Okay. Now, this next one, I didn't even get out of its little hidey hole. But, guys, this Bangles blanket. Whew, okay, I am on double decreases. Go me. I have hardly worked on this, and here is why. This blanket is going to end up being probably the size to fit a twin bed. It's huge, and it's hot because it's worsted weight acrylic. And it has been so warm here all summer. We were mid to upper 90s almost all summer long. I could not, even with the air conditioning, sit and work on this blanket. So I have one more test knit that I'm finishing up, and then I am making a real effort to clear out my whip basket by the end of the year. I have Christmas presents I need to make and a few other things like that. but I'm not picking up anything new other than Christmas presents until my whip basket is empty. I have too many whips, and I have things that I start and I get excited about, and then I don't finish them. And I don't want to do that. I have big plans for 2023 with my knitting, and I really want to start that off the right way, and that's going to be with an empty whip basket. So that is my next big deal. I have probably already popped a picture up here, but I will lay that out on my bed so you guys can see the progress that I have made. And hopefully, now that it's getting cooler, tomorrow is supposed to only be a high of 66. Yes. I will probably work on that because it's not going to be so hot, and it's going to be easier for me to work on that without suffocating. So, and my brother-in-law knows. He watches the podcast, but he knows that it will get there when it gets there. He's been very patient with me about it, so I'll be glad to have that done for him. Okay, next up is living in my Lila Styles Hermione Granger project bag. You guys have seen that bag a lot. It's one of my favorites. These are my sister's Christmas socks. As I said, I knit Christmas socks for Richard, my sister, my mom's best friend Holly, myself, and usually Logan. We'll see how many I can get done this year. But my goal is to get them all done. This is for my sister. This is Bad Wolf Girl Studios in the colorway Mr. Grinch. I bought this a year ago, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, and it's been sitting in stash, and I am, like I said, really trying to work through stash, so I pulled this out for Alicia, and I believe this is the mini that came with it. I had pulled the set apart to use the mini for something else and then ended up not using it. So yeah, she wanted a long sock, so the sock will be as long as it is tall. She prefers a fish lips kiss heel to a heel flap and gusset. Her and Logan both actually prefer the fish lips kiss heel to the heel flap and gusset. So I knit those for them. I actually had to look up the pattern. It had been so long since I had knit her or Logan a pair of socks that I had to look it up and make sure that I got it right. So yeah, I am on to the leg. I have one row of the leg done. So my goal will be to have this sock done before I podcast again. I will probably podcast at the beginning of November. We'll see how life is, but this fall is just a busy time of year for us in general, so I don't always get to podcast. My goodness. The pollen count here has been so high. So I apologize for getting choked up. This is what it looks like in the cake. I know a lot of people like to see that, but it's just a fun colorway. I'm hoping to get a pair of socks out of this myself, so we'll see. Okay, that's my second whip. Oh, my third whip are my fall socks. So this is my Halloween Owls bag. The stars glow in the dark. I love this bag. I've had it for a year or two. I'll look up the maker and pop her name in here. This is yarn from my Halloween Advent calendar from last year. This was the full skein that I got. I believe it's called My Fall Festival. So I am knitting this up and I am ready for the heel turn. I did heel flap and gusset for myself with my little bat wings. That's actually meant to be, that's a Court of Thorn and Roses reference, but I thought it fit, so I put it on here. So yeah, I'm getting ready to do the heel turn for the east. I can't decide if I want to do these just as ankle socks or if I want to do them as tall socks. I probably will do them as tall socks, to be honest, because I'm finding while I prefer to wear short socks when it's warm out or when it's like cool, like this morning where it's going to be 80 degrees but it's cool in the morning, if I need to wear boots, I have to have tall socks. Excuse me. I can't suffer through short socks and boots. It just doesn't work that way. So, okay. What's next? Oh. Okay, so at the end of the summer, my mom and I got this wild hair that we were going to start knitting a cardigan together. She had some yarn. Our local yarn store unfortunately closed. And so we went up there to help Megan clear out and bought a few things. And we bought yarn. I don't think I have the full body picture. I think yeah. I'll try to hold this up. You may not be able to see it. This is the Field Day cardigan. I'll link the designer in below. And her name is Haley. And it is just this fun, kind of boxy cardigan that you can wear over, here's a picture, you know, just wear over things. And I am knitting this out of Cascade 220 Superwash Merino. Now, I had bought some of this from Megan at the shop, and I went to go look through the shop, and I found another skein of it that she had that was the same dye lot as the skein I had. So I went ahead and purchased it, and it was enough to be able to do this cardigan. So this cardigan is a very unique construction. So you start at the back. This is the back. It's going to be hard to see because it's black. I'm sorry. You start at the back, and then you knit all these increases and knit down, and it's stockinette, so it's rolling horribly. Then you pick up along here. You start with the little neckband, and you pick up, and you knit, and then you knit the front, and then we're getting ready to start the next little band and knit the next front. And then my plan is to get my mom started on the body, and I will whip out the sleeves really quick. Because I have such a limited amount of yarn, I want to go ahead and make sure I get the sleeves to the length that I want them, and then I'll be able to just use up whatever I have left in the body of the cardigan. Because I actually don't have quite enough. But my gauge is a little different than what the pattern calls for, so yeah, we're playing a bit of yarn chicken here with this one, guys. I don't expect much movement on this. I don't expect this to frequent the podcast much. Honestly, Mom and I probably won't get the chance to work on it again until Thanksgiving break. This year, they have an entire week off for Thanksgiving, which is a big deal. Typically, they only have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So she will have 2 extra days off work, and that means 2 extra crafting days. So I am looking forward to being able to knit that and work on that with her. Hers is really pretty. I'll see if I can grab a picture of it. She picked out this really pretty variegated yarn that she's working with, and it just turned out so pretty, or is turning out so pretty. She's not done with it yet. Okay, next up is my last test knit for the year. And I know several of you are rolling your eyes. I've gotten that reaction from Richard and my mom and pretty much anyone I've said that to, but we'll talk about it. So, first of all, this is my pumpkin spice latte bag from Happy Little Yarn. I bought this bag recently. Isn't it gorgeous? I just love it so much. It makes me so happy. As soon as it got here, I put this cardigan in it because the cardigan was going to go in timeout. And I can't really afford for it to go in timeout because I have to have it done by the 24th of this month. And it's got that gingham on the inside. So I will pop a picture up here of what the cardigan is going to look like. I am knitting this out of Yarn Bee Sleek and Soft DK in the colorway. I looked it up on the website and it says the colorway is linen. but I was pretty sure this was like cloud or something because it's more gray than linen. Oh, excuse me. But it is a lacy, boxy, or not boxy, like a lacy oversized cardigan. So this is the back. What I have done, I'll show you the lace pattern. And this is the pattern that I was saying I went to the frog pond with. This, I'll pop a picture in here because I promised Gretchen I would talk about this. So I have been staying up late and working on this pattern. Okay, let's back up. So at the beginning of September, I had finished all my test knits. I didn't really have any test knits going on, and that was causing me a lot of anxiety that I did not have a test knit going. So I insanely decided to sign up for 2. Why in the world I thought I could knit 2 full sweaters in the time that a designer was expecting me to knit 1 sweater, I do not know. Honestly, I bit off more than I could chew, which is part of the reason why I haven't podcasted, because I haven't been able to take the time, because I had 2 sweaters that both had row counts that I had to get done every day. And so I picked this up. I was going to do the right front, and I read the first sentence of the paragraph in the pattern, did not continue to read the rest of the paragraph. I saw knit X amount of rows. So I did. And I didn't realize until about 68 rows later that I was supposed to be doing decreases on the right side and the wrong side, depending on where. So I had to rip out 68 rows of knitting. All because I couldn't take the time to read the entire paragraph. This is your warning. Do not be a Tamra. Read ahead in your patterns, please. Do not do what I just did. I was literally almost in tears when I was texting Gretchen because I was so frustrated. Because of course, this wouldn't have happened to me if I wasn't already on a deadline, which the designer's being really nice. I told her I may need more time and she was fine with it. It's nothing like that. I don't like missing deadlines. That's just my own personal deal. So I ripped it out yesterday and I was going to put it in timeout. I did put it in timeout for about an hour before my anxiety of not being able to finish it on time got the best of me. And I was able to do about 30 rows of this right front with some decreases in. So I'm hoping to get the right front done by tomorrow evening and start the left front on Saturday. Richard has a radio event that he is working, so the kids and I will just be home all day, and we will probably be watching cheesy Halloween movies, and I will hopefully get a lot of knitting done. That is typically when Daddy is doing all of his radio events, that is what we like to do. So we watch the movies that Daddy's not huge on. So, and no, I have not watched the new Hocus Pocus yet. I am planning on doing that this weekend. Okay, so that's that. And that kind of brings us into a little bit of my stash talk real quick. Like I said, I'm taking a break from test knitting because I was forcing myself to do test knits because I felt like I needed to. I'm not really sure why, and I'm not really sure where that came from, but I was signing up for test knits and then realizing that the sweaters weren't fitting into my wardrobe the way I wanted them to. And a few of them I will be donating, or I've given them to family or something like that, but they just weren't fitting into my life the way I need them to. And that's a waste. That's a waste of time. That's a waste of money. And I'm taking a spot in a test knit that someone else who might love this sweater is losing out on because I have to have a test knit going. There's no reason for it. So my plan is to go through stash, because I went through stash over the summer and I got rid of an entire trash bag full of yarn. Most of it was acrylic, but I got rid of a lot. And I made a list of the sweaters. So next podcast, I'm going to pull out my stash and we're going to talk about what sweaters I have, what sweaters quantities I have, and what my plans are for them. That is 2023. I am planning on knitting all of those sweaters off of my list before I allow myself to pick up another test knit. Because I have been buying yarn saying, oh, I'm going to put that in stash to knit this sweater that I bought the pattern for, and then it's sitting back there in a bag. That's money that I have wasted because I'm not knitting those sweaters. And some of that yarn that I have is not cheap. I grabbed it from Megan when the shop was closing, so I got it at a discount, but it still was not cheap. And I need to be using it. So that's what we're going to do. So next podcast, we will do a stash talk, and I will sit down and talk about all of my sweaters quantities and what I plan on doing with those. And as Gretchen likes to say, sock yarn doesn't count as stash, so we don't have to worry about that. It's just the sweaters quantities we're going to talk about. Okay, so we're also going to talk about scrappy time, because when I had that little lull where I didn't have a test knit going on, I picked up my scrappy projects again, and I have quite the stack of my little granny squares that I'm making. So this is what I do with my scraps. First put them in my Cozy Memories blanket. Then if I have more than 5 grams left, I make a little square. Then whatever is left, if it is longer than the length from my shoulder to my hand, it goes in my magic knot ball that I will be doing just a corner to corner scrappy blanket with. So I was crocheting a bunch of these little granny squares because I can get one of these done in about 30 minutes. And I was really just needing that instant gratification of having something done. So I have a stack of them in a separate bag. I'm still trying to decide what color I'm going to put these together with. Most likely it will be like a gray or black. I'm leaning towards black. Kind of as an homage to my grandma. I will put a photo up here of a blanket that she crocheted back in the 70s. My grandma's no longer with us. She died when my mom was a teenager, so I never met her. And so having this blanket brings having that from her, and I kind of like that where she had the black with the bright rainbow colors, and I kind of feel like the black with these would look good. So if I know the name of the yarn, I will tell you. If not, sorry. This was Richard's Yoda socks. I don't actually know the name. It is I can't think of the yarn, but I talked about these in a podcast a while back. This is some that my mom knit. These were my shorty Halloween socks from last year. I believe this was Mint Rain yarn. I don't remember the name of it though. This one is left over from my night market cardigan, and I had to just put a little bit in there. I ran out right at the end. This was one from Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. It was a swap. This is Bad Wolf Girl Studios, but I don't remember the colorway. This was one of my Halloween Advent from last year. This is the yarn that, what is this one from? I do not remember. See, I told you I wouldn't remember. I think that's the yarn that Jade wants a hat made out of, maybe. This one was another mini. Same as this one. This was Halloween Advent. And finally, this was heels, toes, and cuffs for my sister's Harry Potter socks from last year. So I will weave in all the ends on these and put them in the second bag that I have, which I already have a stack of these, with the can't talk today, with the yarn ends weaved in. So the plan is to pick out an outside color. I will go around them one row with the outside color and then do some way to combine them. So I haven't quite figured out what yet. So yeah, that's my first scrappy project. And then my Cozy Memories blanket. You guys haven't seen this in forever. Oh, okay. Where are we? Oh, I'm holding it sideways. Silly me. There we go. Okay. So, these are some socks I knit for Richard. This dye are no longer dye yarn. This was a mini I had. Sock yarn from my mom. Beautiful Day by Mama Jessa Yarns. Halloween Advent. Knit Pick Static from Nicole Socks. Nebula from Bad Wolf Girl Studios. And then I have the one I'm currently working on. So I realized, and I know I've talked about this every time, but I'm going to again. This square, I realized a long time ago, is non-superwash wool. So this blanket is probably not going to be as big as I was originally planning on, because I am not going to be able to wash it other than on delicate cycle in my washer and hang dry, or not even that. I'm a little nervous to even do that because I don't want it to felt. So it may just be a hand wash only, and in that case I'll probably just use it as a little throw to hang over my rocking chair or something like that. So yeah, I will take out all these and hopefully get to work on this again. I was, as you can tell, working on it for several Sundays, and then when all the test knitting happened, I kind of had to stop. So what I've been doing is, we talked about how as I put yarn, you know, Cozy Memories, Granny Squares into the Magic Knot Ball, if I have 5 grams after the Granny Square, I've been putting them in a separate bag that I know is just sock yarn. And I am planning on making another one of these, but the squares will be smaller. I like the size of these squares. I think they're pretty, but they take 8 to 10 grams of yarn. So if I get a 50 gram ball of sock yarn, that only leaves me 40 grams for a pair of socks if I want a square in here. If I want enough scrappy stuff, I almost have to have 100 grams to be able to put something into all of my scrappy projects. I know, woe is me. I don't need to put stuff in all of my scrappy projects, but I enjoy these. They bring me a lot of joy, and I have a lot of memories with these. So, and I'm a very sentimental person. You know, a lot of times I can tell you where I got, like, who bought me a t-shirt or whatever. I just have that kind of memory. So it makes me feel good to know that I have those memories I can hold on to, and memories that I can have. So yeah, that was scrappy time. Okay, well, that is all the yarny content that I have. We are going to talk about a couple of book recommendations, and the fact that 2 of my favorite authors have new books coming out on Halloween, and I'm going to do a quick life update. But if you're just here for the yarn, I am so glad that you stuck around, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I will hopefully be back at the beginning of November to talk to you guys again. So right now we'll probably just go with monthly, because I don't want to promise you guys an episode in 2 weeks and not be able to deliver. But for right now, that's what we're going to do. So I will see you later. All right, let me grab a drink. Okay, so the last time I podcasted, Juliet Cross had just come out with a new book. This is part of her Stay a Skill series. If you enjoy fantasy steamy books, I highly recommend her Stay a Spell series. They are a lot of fun. They are about a family of witches in New Orleans, and of course each girl ends up falling in love. The characters, I mean, you see them in every book, but they're not, the storylines don't get boring. They're very different. They're very fun. And her newest book comes out on Halloween. And why, yes, I do already have it pre-ordered. Her next one is called Resting Witch Face. And I'm really excited about it. Though it's not the book I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be Clara, which is one of the sisters. And it's not. It's the oldest sister. It's Jules, which I love Jules too, so I'm happy to hear her story. But I really wanted Clara's story, and now I have to wait until like January for it. I know, wah, first world problems, right? Anyway, so her Always Practice Safe Hex. This book was about Livy and Gareth, and I loved this book. It had an extremely steamy scene that I really enjoyed in the courtyard. I highly recommend these books if you do like steam, and you know, they're just feel-good books, and I constantly find myself smiling or laughing when I'm listening to them. I actually highly recommend them on audiobook. She has them read by Aiden Snow and, oh, what is her name? Oh. I know the narrator's name. I cannot think of it. I'll pop it right here. I know who it is. I've listened to several books narrated by her. She's a great narrator. But yeah, they're awesome as audiobooks. They're great as books just to read. As most of you know, I am a chronic rereader, so audiobooks are kind of my way to go, especially if I have like a frustrating pattern like that test knit that I've been dealing with because I can't read. I will put on a favorite audiobook and re-listen to it as a way to kind of center myself. Gives me that background noise that I need and something else to focus on, but I don't have to be paying 100% attention to it because I already know basically what's going to happen. It's a comfort thing. Okay. Next book that I want to talk about is actually a Halloween book. It's a Halloween novella. It's called Scream for Us by Molly Doyle. This is a 5 out of 5 on Spice. It is legitimately a smut book with plot to it. But I really like it. It's a really fun, dark romance book. It's a reverse harem book. But I really enjoyed it. And it's a short book. You could read it in like 2 hours. So it's like one of those where if you're needing some Halloween, you're needing some spooky and some smut, you can pick this book up. I highly, highly recommend. Please read her trigger warnings for this book before you pick it up. I don't normally say that about a lot of books that I read, but for hers, I would highly recommend. And she has a new book coming out as well on Halloween Day, which is, so she wrote Scream for Us, which is the Halloween book. And then she wrote a book called Melt for Us, which is a Christmas book with the same characters. Now she wrote a full novel of that time between Halloween and Christmas. And I am here for it. I'm so excited. I was gonna wait for audio because the male narrator for the audio, Vio Eros, oh my goodness, to listen to him. I could hear him read a phone book. It is just, his voice is just beautiful. And I really just wanted to listen to the new book that's coming out, but she hasn't talked about the audio at all, and I can't wait. So I have pre-ordered it on Kindle, and I'll read it there, and then I probably will buy the audio too, to be honest with you. So the last one I want to talk about is, again, a romance. This is a shifter romance, And again, 5 out of 5 on Smut. It is Carnage Island by Lexi C. Foss. Again, it's another reverse harem book. I enjoyed this book a lot. This one I have on audio as well. And it's 4 narrators because there are 4 main characters. It is definitely, you know, that Omega verse, Alpha, Omega type of deal. So if that's not your thing, I understand, but I have been enjoying the fantasy and shifter romances a lot recently, and I really, really liked this book. So if you've read any of these, let me know. Or if you have read these and you have other books to recommend, pop me a recommendation down below. I'm always down for more to read. Okay, let's see. Life and junk. Really, we've just been busy. My in-laws came right before school started, and we got to have a visit with them. I have been doing, like I said, all the crazy test knitting. Excuse me. The kids started back to school, so we had to do back to school shopping, haircuts, all that kind of stuff. Jade has decided that she is going to play the viola like Olivia. So we are going tomorrow to pick up a viola for her. She is also, she's having a harder time this year. Her sped teacher, who we've had since kindergarten, got a new job. And so even though the sped teacher that was coming in is someone that we know, it has still been hard for her. So this year has been a little bit of a transition for us, which is good because next year she'll go to middle school and she'll have all new teachers. So she kind of needed that transition, but it's been a rough one on the family in general. Just hard when they're struggling. And William's doing great. He loves school, loves his bus, loves it all. Olivia's doing fantastic, loving 7th grade. Really excited that Sissy's going to be playing viola because she has something that they can do together that she's really passionate about. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how life has been. Richard and I are doing well. And yeah, so alrighty, I better get off here. I'm just rambling at this point, and I have one of my kiddos coming later today, so I need to get the rest of the house picked up and dishes done before she gets here. So hey, so this is Next Day Tamara. I realized with Life and Junk, I forgot to tell you about our new family member. So back in June, my parents' German short hair of 16 years passed away. That was really hard for us to lose Logan. And after a couple months, they got Miss Patches. Hey, Patchy, look. So this is our new family member, Miss Patches. So I wanted to show a video of her. Oh, I know. She's mad because she's going back in her kennel. But I hope you all are doing well, since I'm going to cut off most of my goodbye on the other video. So yeah, I will talk to you guys later. See you in November. Bye.